Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back to Final Trade. If you watch this channel for any amount of time, you know that I am the biggest optimist there is on the future of financial markets. As I say, the future is always bullish. On the long timeline, markets go up, people go to work, they create businesses, they create new jobs, they build things, they imagine things, they have ideas. They grow the economy, they create wealth, and we all get richer as time goes on. And I think it's going to be that way for a long time to come. And I think that even in economically down times like now, there's still money to be made. There's still opportunity all around us to make money. And of course, a few weeks ago, I was buying these, yes, Evolving Skies booster packs. I was buying these for $4 each when everybody was saying that markets are melting down, TCGs are a bad thing to invest in, there's no good deals. And of course, I was buying some Brilliant Stars. I bought a few of those, $4 each. And then more recently, this past week, I've been buying both of these Brilliant Stars and yes, even Evolving Skies, I've been buying for $3.20 per pack. Yes. At a time when the headline market price, if you buy at the booster box quantity for Brilliant Stars, is nearly $5 a pack, and Evolving Skies is $7 a pack, and still going up steadily. I was buying this week for $3.20 per pack. And so, my point with this is there is always money to be made, there is always opportunity, there is always something that you can invest in. And you may have to look harder for it. You may have to buy more of something to get economies of scale and discounts on pricing. You may have to just work harder to do it. It may not come along as often. There aren't a lot of free tendies out there right now like there were in 2020 and 2021, but there are good deals on things if you're patient, if you're well capitalized, and if you're willing to take a risk. And the biggest problem that I see with investors that I've seen over the last 20 years is something that is called the straight line fallacy. And it's the tendency of investors to look at a very, very narrow period of time, infer a straight line in the behavior of something within that timeline, and then extract that straight line out forever. And so they'll look at something and they'll say, well, the S&P 500 has been generally trending down for about 13 months now. Bitcoin's been generally trending down pretty hard for, 15 months now, I think, something like that. And they'll look at those and they'll say, well, I guess it's probably just going, or definitely, it's just going to trend down and keep trending down like it has been until it hits zero. And they don't imagine that other things could happen, that as the price of an asset changes, people's behaviors and attitudes towards that asset change also. And that makes people do different things. When an asset gets cheap enough, more people come into the market to buy it, and it arrests the descent of that asset's price. And similarly, people will see things like, Magic boxes going down in price. They'll see things like WotC making terrible decisions and driving players away from the game. And they'll take ultra short term views of both of those things. They'll see a straight line over that short term that they're looking at, and they'll just extrapolate it to infinity, never imagining that someone will change their behavior. And they'll conclude that Magic is done, it's all dead, it's going to zero, the boxes will be worthless, the game will die, and no one will play Magic anymore. And they never stop to think, well, WotC can change plans, they can do something different. And we had the fireside chat with the WotC executives, I guess like a week ago now or something. And everybody came out of that saying, oh, well, WotC's just doubling down, they're saying they're doing nothing. Well, they're not going to change anything. And I'll tell you, I have worked for CEOs that in public would say, no, we're happy with our performance. We're happy with the way the company is going. We're happy with the way the market and our customers perceive our products. But then the internal emails within the company were saying totally different things. Big changes were being made. Executives were getting fired. Directors were being replaced. Programs were getting canceled. Others were being spun up. Long-term strategy was shifting, and it simply wasn't being done in the public eye. And no one can seriously think that WotC can look around, see the displeasure in the market, see players leaving the game, and think, nah, that's fine. Now, they obviously realize it's happening, they realize people are unhappy, and they have a duty to put on a good show and say, well, nothing's wrong, everything's fine, I'm fine with this, the room burning down around me is okay. But behind the scenes, you can bet they are making changes. They're making changes to print run sizes, to what they put into boxes, and eventually those changes will come to the market, they will start to have an effect, and the market will turn. So don't give in to the straight line fallacy of thinking, Bitcoin's been down for 15 months now, it's going to zero. The S&P 500's been down for 13 months now, it's going to zero. Inflation's been 8% annualized rate for several months in a row. It'll be 8% annualized rate for every month, forever from now on. It's an amateur fallacy of investors to do that, to draw the straight line and to not imagine that things can change, that changing prices, changing conditions, change people's attitudes, they change their behaviors. And so when those prices and conditions get to certain points, certain people are scared into or out of the market. And of course, this happens on the other side too. This happens during bull runs when markets are going nuts, when they're making all-time highs every week. And people will say things like, oh yeah, it's so damn easy to make money. You just buy anything. And that's when you need to really look around and think, this might not be healthy. It might be a good time to reevaluate things and step back and take a look at what we're doing here, because you should not be able to extrapolate that markets only go up forever. They go up, they'll go down for time, they'll go up again later on, they'll come down a little while. On the long timeline, the overall trend is up just by virtue that populations keep growing, people's ability to efficiently create value keeps increasing every year, and the amount of capital available to us almost always increases over time. But there will be time periods when there are downturns. We're in one right now, but it'll eventually turn around. And no, virtually nothing is going to zero. Almost every asset that's out there today will still be there 10 years from now, and will probably be worth more 10 years from now than it is today. That's just the lesson of all of financial history, and it's hubris to think that this time is going to be different. This time it's all going to come crumbling down. Everything's going to collapse. It's going to go to zero. And instead of trying to fix any of it, everybody will just lay in bed sulking until they starve to death. No, things will be fine. Eventually the markets will turn around. And if you've fallen into this straight line fallacy, you've declined to invest while everything is cheap right now, you will regret it later. And again, 20 years I've been investing in the stock market, investing in other assets, and that's what I see again and again and again through the great financial crisis in the late 2000s, through COVID in 2020, through all the other turmoil. Again, the stories I love to tell, the two from 2020, one was that people were saying, well, we'll just somehow never need oil anymore after 2020. And while people were screeching that, I was buying oil companies hand over fist. They're all up about 150% now, and they pay gorgeous dividends. And similarly, the second story, for some reason, people thought bars and restaurants would never reopen, and humans were done drinking alcohol, which is just, how could anyone be so preposterous? And so I bought Diageo. I bought a lot of Diageo. It's a worldwide alcohol company. And in about 4 months' time, I got a 25% gain on that investment. Is one of the best investments, short-term investments I ever made. But essentially, a lot of people were just committing the straight line fallacy. They were saying, well, bar and restaurant sales have been down for months on end while everything is locked down during a pandemic. And I guess just extrapolating a straight line, that's going to continue unabated forever until every bar and restaurant is closed and no one will ever drink alcohol again. And of course, all those people who said that were wrong, predictably. And the people who said, well, that doesn't make sense. Humans drink when they're happy. Humans drink when they're sad. They made a lot of money. And so that's the thing. Even in down times, there's lots of money to be made. There's lots of opportunity. You just may have to look a little harder to find it, and you may have to work a little harder to capture it, but it's still there. So that's all I got, guys. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Join me on Final Trade. Thanks a lot.